Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some products that I want to prioritize in 2021. So these are items that I may put into project pans, or they're things that are super close to expiry and I want to get them used up in the new year. I selected a handful of things that I really think I will quite possibly be able to use up or reach specific goals on in the new year. As we are approaching the end of 2020, I'm definitely reflecting about what my makeup consumption was like in last year, and it was definitely not up to par with maybe what I was anticipating. So you'll see I didn't choose a huge selection of items to chat about today, but they definitely are things that I would love to prioritize, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about these products if you'd like to see them in project pans, or if you've panned them in the past, maybe your own experience with them. I have seen a few other people also do this type of video, so I will link a few related videos down in the description box of this video so you can check out some other people planning future project pans. But yeah, let's just hop on into all of my product picks. Shall we just begin with base products? I feel like that's probably the easiest thing to kick it off with. So this is a product that I had in my 20 favorites in 2020 project pan, so I've been using it very diligently throughout the last year already. This is the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Complexion Primer. I likely won't put this into a future project pan, seeing as you guys have already watched me use this for the past year or so, but this is something I'd like to use up and get out of my collection sooner rather than later. I don't think that would be an impossible task, but sitting down and filming this and just taking these products out is a good way to remind myself that I need to reach for these, because I have been using this ever since I wrapped up my 20 favorites in 2020 project pan, but I can foresee myself, I've done this in the past, I can foresee myself throwing this into my makeup collection because I just want to take a break from it and then never coming back and using it again, and it being so dang close to empty. That just seems wrong. So I would like to get this used up early in the new year. Probably not in a project pan, like I said, but definitely something I'd love to prioritize. This next product is also one that I've had in a project pan this year. It was in my graveyard project pan. This is the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue in the shade Natural 05. I was working on this for, I believe, 4 months of that project, and I still have yet to finish it off, and that's because I have lost my summer tan. I was able to wear this on its own previously, but now I've been mixing it in combination with the other shade of this or other lighter foundations in my collection, and I'd really like to get these both used up actually. This one is in Vanilla 02, and they both have expiry dates in the early parts of 2021. So this one expires January, very soon. Hopefully I'll get it used up by the end of January, because it's not really shaping up to look like I'll have it done by the end of this year, even though I have been using it so much. And then this one says it expires in 06/2021. So in June of the new year, this one will expire. Of course, that's only the SPF. I don't believe that's the actual product itself. But I do want to be diligent and ensure that I'm kind of using these things within a reasonable time. I've had both of these in my collection for, I believe, 1.5 to 2 years already. So I'd like to get them used up sooner than later, just given how long I have actually had them. And they last forever. They seem to just never die, which is a good and a bad thing, but I am so ready to be done with this. I love this formula. This is so beautiful. It's really one of my favorite base products ever, but dang, I cannot seem to finish it. So I really like to get these used up in early 2021. Another base product actually that I have here is the Urban Decay Naked Skin. This I have not ever had in a project pan, and I do think this is something I'd like to pan in the new year. I have about this much of this product left, which is quite a bit of product, but I feel like this is the kind of product it is, like a little bit of a thinner formula, so I'm able to use a little bit more of it when I do reach for it. And there's not a ton of product in here. This is 5 mils versus the concealer that I've been focusing on this year is 15 mils, so it's 3 times the size and it's way fuller coverage. This is a very light to medium kind of coverage. Oh, by the way, I have this in the shade Light Warm, and this is like the perfect concealer color for me. I like that it has a little bit of yellow, so it cancels out some of the purple on my under eyes. And I have been through one of these in the past. I didn't pan it. It was actually even prior to my panning journey, but I used it up completely because I absolutely loved it. In combination with like the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue, it's just like perfect tip-top optimal skin kind of look. So this is something I'd like to pop into a project pan early in the new year and try to use up throughout the new year. Otherwise, I feel like it will start to get a little bit too old, and I definitely don't want to let it expire considering this is no longer a line that's available. I want to use it up and savor it while I have it. This next product is not technically a makeup product, but I do keep this in my makeup collection. This is the Derma E Sun Protection Mineral Powder SPF 30. This, again, is something I want to prioritize because the expiry date on this is 07/2021. So July 2021 is the expiry of this. That doesn't give me a ton of time to get this used up. And considering that I do use this more so as a actual SPF powder than a like setting powder or finishing powder or even touch-up powder, I really want to get this used up within that allotted expiry time. So this is something, again, I'm going to prioritize it in the new year. I may pop it into a project pan, but I do think it's going to be something that's hard to track considering all of this is opaque. Like, I don't even know where I stand with this product right now. I feel like I've used it a fair amount, but I cannot see where I'm at, and that is a little bit annoying, but I do want to use this. Oh, when I flip it over, that's a nice way to just see where I'm at. It barely looks like I've used any, so I definitely want to prioritize this. I'd like to at least use a decent chunk of it before it does expire, so yeah. The next product I want to talk about is this Essence 2-in-1 eyeshadow and primer. This is in the shade Nude Beige. I'm not sure that they even offer these anymore, but I did go to an Essence event, I think almost 4 years ago now, and I got this from that. And I don't know why. It's something I just can't seem to part with. I have tried to declutter it several times, but I don't think it's the nostalgia of it being from PR. It's just simply, I feel like this is something that could be really good, and I've never really fully put it to the test. So I do have quite a bit of product out of here. I've used it many times to do like halo eyes or cut creases, which I don't really do that often, but just to amp up eyeshadow. But I want to try this actually as more of an actual eyeshadow base in the new year, seeing as I'm finishing up the concealer that I've been using as a primer for most of the year. So I'd like to use this up. I don't know if that's realistic, and this is very, very old, so this is something I do definitely want to ensure I'm reaching for instead of just letting it expire in my drawers. That's really what I'm thinking about when it comes to this. I'm not sure. Possibly I could use this as a concealer? I really don't know. It's just a matter of actually taking it out of my drawer and using it and reaching for it and really giving myself the goal to use it up. This next product is a cream highlight from Becca. This should not be a problem whatsoever to pan. This is the Shimmering Skin Perfector in the shade Opal, and this is a liquid highlighter. I personally really like using this mixed in combination with base products, so like tinted moisturizers or foundations. This looks beautiful to offer a glowy finish. I don't really love the way that this looks on my complexion when it's just like a standalone highlight. It just doesn't do enough for me, but as a mixer to create glowy bases, this is phenomenal. So I only have like this much left in here. That really won't last me all that long. So this is something I'd like to prioritize. I have had this for quite some time as well in my collection. I really did enjoy it for the first, few months that I had it, but this was one of those things that I used it so much and I didn't want to use it all up so fast. I wanted to hold on to it and savor it a little bit longer, put it into my drawers, and then literally I haven't touched it at all in 2019 or 2020. So it needs to get used up and loved on as much as I know it potentially could be. Another product that I really just wanted to ensure I didn't let go bad is this Colourpop Lux Lipstick in the shade Tiptoe. This was in my 20 favorites in 2020 project pan, and I rolled it out of that project when the product actually got flush with the packaging, and it is fully empty now. The bullet is completely emptied, and that's because I actually depotted it into a used Colourpop Super Shock Shadow pan. So I cleaned this guy out and I popped the old lipstick, or not old, but the last of the lipstick into here so I can use it as a lipstick, but also as a cream blush. I just really don't want to forget about this lipstick. It's like my favorite nude kind of lip for me because it's like this beige rose kind of shade, and I just find it so flattering and so beautiful. But the fact that it wasn't super easy to use anymore made it so that I just didn't want to reach for it. But I do think that putting it into this pan will give me the opportunity to reach for it more and use it much more easily. I am wearing it today as a cream blush and I absolutely love the way that it looks on my complexion right now, so this is something that wouldn't be a problem to get use out of. I just really wanted to ensure that I don't forget about it and don't let it just sit in my drawer being unused and expiring when it's something that I absolutely adore. All right, on the topic of blush, this is the Milani Luminoso blush. I had this in my Graveyard Project pan both last year and this year, and I finally did hit pan on it. But next year, I want to finish it up because this is the oldest product in my makeup collection right now. I moved into my apartment over 5 years ago. September of 2015, we moved into this apartment and I moved here with this. This is the standalone one and only product that remains from when I moved. Everything else I have purchased in the time that I've lived in this apartment. So that is a sign that this has got to go because it is old. Is very old, and I had it for years before I put it into, like, before I brought it into this apartment. So yeah, I want to finish it up. I think that it shouldn't be a problem. It will definitely be a challenge, but I have heard that once you've hit pan on this, it does go a lot more fast because there isn't a ton of product. It's much more thin. So yeah, this is something I'd like to finish off. It would be so dang satisfying to see this empty. So satisfying because the amount of time I have worked on this and prioritized this and used this is wild, that it would just be so amazing to have this actually finished up by the end of 2021. And I am up for the challenge. I'm up for the challenge for sure. This next product is also technically considered a blush. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Blush in the shade Natural Glow. I don't typically use this as a blush. I use this as more of a finishing, blending kind of product. It doesn't have a lot of pigmentation as a blush. As you can see, it's just this very light golden pink, like a rose gold kind of shade, which is pretty on the cheeks, but it doesn't offer enough for me for a flush. Maybe on someone a little bit more fair than myself, but even still, I don't really think that this is like something I would consider a blush. In any case, I did hit pan on this earlier this year, and I think I could be able to finish it up in 2021. I'm not certain at all, but I can use this kind of as like an all over sort of finishing powder on my face with a duo fiber brush, or I can use this more targeted as a highlighter or just to like meld all of my cheek products together to make everything look seamless and diffused. And so I do think it's something that I can get very good use out of. Maybe not finish, but I can definitely get towards the goal of finishing this up. When I sit here and I think about how long these products in front of me are going to take me to use up, it really drives me to want to continue on my journey of purchasing less products as well, because I'm in it for the long haul with everything that I already own. I don't really want to bring more into my collection. This next product actually has been in 2 project pans in the past, and I finally hit pan on it at the end of last summer, and I'd like to focus on it again in the coming summer. This is the Becca Sunlit bronzer in the shade Bronze Bondi, which is just a mini of the bronzer, but for some reason this lasted me forever. This is something that took me forever to hit pan on, and I'd really like to prioritize getting this used up and out of my collection in 2021. It will be a bit of a challenge, but if I'm diligent, I do think I can finish it off, and it would be really gratifying. Even though it's a tiny bronzer, it would feel really good to use up a bronzer from my collection. This next cheek product, I don't want to finish up. I really don't know what I would like to do with this in terms of panning, but it is my Makeup Geek highlighter palette. This is the Kathleen Lights and Makeup Geek, it's just called highlighter palette, and it features 3 pans of highlighter. These are massive pans of highlighter, and I've had this in my collection for 5 years now. I purchased this the winter that I moved into my apartment, so that's how I know. It was like the first Christmas that we were here, and I have hit pan on this shade right here. I did have it in a round of Roulette Pan collab, but these 2 shades are really underutilized in my collection. I have barely worn these. This shade, of course, you can tell it's very deep. It's not really suited to my skin tone, but I think next summer I'd like to use it as maybe a bronzer topper in combination with that Becca bronzer. I'd like to use it maybe on my legs if I do get a tan next year. And this pinky shade, I don't know why I haven't used it that much, quite honestly, because it's absolutely beautiful. This palette For many years now, I've considered decluttering it. Whenever I do kind of go into my collection, I'm very critical with my collection. I think I'd like to declutter this, but it holds some sort of special value to me that I can't really quite pinpoint. And so I can't seem to part with it. So I'd like to prioritize it. And I'd really like to make sure that I do use it before I end up just allowing it to expire in my drawers. I just really like to find a way to use these and fall in love with them, because honestly in the last 2 years I'm not sure that I used this palette once. So yeah, next year I'd like to maybe set it up to have like usage goals with this or something. I don't know what. If you have any recommendations for me, please let me know, because this is something I would really like to make sure I am using. It breaks my heart, the thought that I've had this and thought that I loved it, but really not actually put it to good use whatsoever. It kind of really upsets me. So I want to make sure I'm using it. In 2021, I would like to work a few lip products out of my collection, but I do foresee it being a little bit of a challenge. But I did end up picking out 3 lip products that I really would like to work out of my collection in the coming year, and I do think are actually reasonable to do so. This is the first one. This is the Mellow Matte Lipstick in the shade Nude. I had this in Roulette Pan collab eons ago, and I used up a fair amount of this product in 4 months, and so I do think this is something that I could finish off maybe if I give myself like 6 months or so, just given how my makeup consumption has changed. But if I give myself like 6 or so months to work on this, yeah, quite possibly I could get it used up. It's a beautiful like mauve-y kind of shade that I do think is not really the ideal nude on my complexion, but it is a really nice shade, and I do find that it's a very flattering color, and this formula is matte, so it lasts really well, but it's not matte in the sense that it's dry or uncomfortable on the lips, and there's so little left in here. I should be able to finish it off no problem whatsoever. Well, maybe a bit of a challenge, but it's something that's totally doable, is what I'm trying to say. And then this next product is the oldest lip gloss I have in my collection. This is the Annabelle Big Show Lip Shine. This is in the shade Whisper, which is the perfect name for it because it looks like a very pearly light pink here in the tube, but actually it's just a very soft lip gloss that honestly offers a little bit of sheen without being overwhelming. And I am wearing it today, although it's quite faded at this point in the day. But I love this. This is such a beautiful lip gloss, but I, again, often overlook it. And it is the oldest lip gloss in my collection. Again, I believe I've had this for 4 to 5 years. I remember buying it around Christmas time, shortly after I moved to my apartment. So perhaps it's 5 years. Honestly, a lot of my makeup is about 5 years old, simply because when we moved here, I really started getting into beauty blogging, and I was like, I want all the things. So I do think that this may be 5 years actually. This was part of an Annabelle like little Christmas gift set, so that's why I remember it was Christmas time. But in any case, not super relevant, but no matter what, if I can't remember exactly how old a product is, I should probably be either decluttering it or using it. And this formula is still really nice. It smells good and it performs really well, and I want to use it before I let it go bad. And then the last lip product is also a lip gloss. This one is by e.l.f. This is the Lip Plumping Gloss in the shade Champagne Glam. As you can see, I've used up about half of this. I love this. It is so beautiful. Again, it's a much more sheer kind of lip gloss that just perfects the lips without looking like you have a lot of product on them. But this does offer that really nice plumping feeling. I personally really like that. I know it's not for everyone, but I love that like sizzle almost kind of feel of a plumping lip gloss. And as you can tell, I have been loving on it because I've been able to use up quite a bit of this in the last like year or so that I've owned it. And I just think it's really a great lip gloss. I think it's pretty addicting, so I would be able to use it up no problem. This wouldn't be a super challenge to me, but it's something I would like to prioritize after I prioritize my oldest lip gloss in my collection. This is something that I don't feel I need to be as urgent about, but I'd like to use it up considering I can see how much progress I've already made, and it doesn't seem like too much of a feat to get to the point of using it up. Some of these products you may end up seeing in project pans in the coming year, which I'm really excited for. Some of these products you may end up just seeing in empties or potentially even declutters, depending on how I get on with the products. But it was a really good exercise to sit down and just look through my collection, look at what was expiring, what is like close to being used up, what products I've been neglecting, and just really thinking about how I want to interact with my makeup collection in the coming year. I don't want to overwhelm myself with products to finish up. I really do want to get better about shopping my stash and rotating through my collection. But of course, it is important to also get some things used up and move some products out of my collection. So I chose a very select few products, and I do think that for the most part, I should be able to finish these off. But yeah, that's everything for today's video. Thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.